Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. I have a second design team project using Graphic 45 Season to celebrate, and I'm really excited about this one. I had a few papers left over and I wanted to create something really fun that you could have as a standalone project, but also add it into my previous design team project that I made. This is a great tag project. It used up all the scraps that I had, and it is a great accompaniment to the other project that I had created. So I hope you stay tuned and watch this quick tutorial. I'll show you exactly how to cut the papers and put everything all together to create your own set of tags. I really enjoyed working with this collection, and I think you will too. So stay tuned. The tutorial and the walkthrough is coming up next. Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. I have another tutorial for you. I did have a couple pieces of paper left over after I made my previous design team project using the Graphic 45 Season to Celebrate collection, and I'll put a picture of that down below. I had 5 pieces of paper left. And I just decided I needed to make something with them, and I came up with an idea this morning. I actually woke up with the idea this morning. I do that sometimes. I just wake up and it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. So this is what I came up with. So what I ended up doing was, my original concept was to create some tags that actually will go into the previous project that I made. And I'm going to put a picture of that in here as well. So it gives it a little bit more decoration, a little bit more, oomph, I guess. But then when I made the tags, I decided to make a little box too, because I still had one more piece of paper left over. So I just created a very, very small little box to put them in. But basically what these are tags using the Graphic 45 tags that you can find at Country Craft Creations. And I had some in my stash. I did cut them down a little bit, and I'm going to go through a tutorial with you. But I used the cut apart papers to make the tags. So the idea was, again, to put them in the previous project, or if you wanted them as a standalone project, you could totally put them in this cute little box here and then have another little display piece that you could use. And these are by seasons. There's 4 tags. On the front here, again, I did have one piece of the paper from the fall, the coordinated solids. That is that kind of red color behind. And then I had a little bit of the winter paper left over. So I used that to cover the box. And then I fussy cut out of some scraps some of the flower pieces here, and then I just kind of inked them, rolled some edges, I bumped them up on some foam dots, and then I used some bling. And I'm going to go through some of the extra supplies that I got or I used on this project in just a second. But some bling here that I got from Country Craft Creations. And then this little guy here, this little banner Season to Celebrate, that came from the branding strip from the paper. And then I just kind of curled it a little bit and then added some foam dot here and then just glued it down there, so it kind of has a little bit of dimension. I hope you can see that. So all the little flowers have a little dimension there on top. And so it's just a really simple box. And so I'll explain that here in just a second. But then when you look at the tags, all the tags are done the same. And I'm going to show you exactly how to cut the paper to do it. But I did take a Graphic 45 tag and I cut it down. And the front part has a belly band. And then I used some of the scraps to make some flowers. And then again, used a little bit more bling. So this is the winter tag. On the top here, I went through my stash, and Country Craft Creations had this great gold and ivory double-sided satin ribbon, and I bought a bunch of it a while ago, and I used that with some of the natural twine and just tied that around the top, and then added the flower to the belly band here. And then on the back you have some pockets. So in the belly band because I had the cut apart sheet, I used the cut aparts, and then I had not used the names of the months on anything, and so I ended up with 2 of those. So each month got another card. Okay, so I just made those as tags, or tabs, excuse me. I just cut them out, rounded the corners, inked everything. So we have one for February, one for December, and one for January for the months of winter. So those tuck in here, and there's plenty of room. You can put more in there. And then on the back, what I did was I used the border strip that was at the bottom of the paper, and I created 3 just stacked pockets. And then I used, I'll show you this. So these 3 pieces here, if you ignore this top part here, here, and here, are the border strip that said Happy Winter and had all of this there. And so I just layered those. And then this was one of the cut aparts that I just cut down, and I'll show you how to do that. And then in the pockets, I used the little teeny tiny little cut apart pieces in here. And then this one here. So this one is cut like a tea bag, right? So I created a tea bag out of it. And so I just did the, I used my tiny attacher, and I attached a piece of the twine, and I stapled it, and I tried to make sure that I stapled around. And then I did use, I'll show you this, I have, it's from my jewelry making stuff. It's a flat plier, and then I just, once I stapled it, I squeezed those tines down to make sure that it stayed really well, because I didn't want the twine to come out. And then I took a punch that I have that's a little teeny tiny stamp punch, and I punched 2 pieces of the pattern paper that matched the season, and then sandwiched the end of the twine in there, and then also used another staple there. So I made a cute little tea bag embellishment, and then that just goes in the top pocket, and you can either let it hang, or you can take it and you can tuck it into the pocket like that. So there is the winter one. I'll go through the spring one. Okay, so real quickly, I'll just show you what everything looks like. I did everything the same. It makes a great addition to the previous project, or a project in and of itself. Again, the flower on the front, and then the back here with the tags. Okay, isn't that cute? I love how that turned out. Then you have, here's summer, and again the tags, and I just corner rounded the top and then just glued them front and back, since I never used them on any of the other parts of the project. So I had 2 sets of those from the 2 cut aparts. And then here's my little tea bag here. I just think it turned out so super cute. I think this really did well. So yeah, after I show you this, I'm going to get into showing you how to cut the paper. Okay, and then you can use your leftovers. Oops, can't get that under there. You can use your leftovers to create your little tag masterpiece here. Okay, so again, they're all the same. I do want to show you real quick. This is all that I have left over. I have this piece here that's left over, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that. And then these are just the scraps that are left over, and that is it from all of that paper and all of that cardstock that I received in my design team package. That's all I have left. So yeah, let's, I think, yeah, let me talk to you real quick about the tags. So these are the graphic 45 tags that I did use, the large black ones, and they are very tall. And so I did cut off the bottom here to make them a total. And let me get my ruler and I'll measure it for you. So from the straight edge of that tag, not that curved dome, it's 7 inches. So the total height of this tag is now 7 3/4 inches, which fits really nicely in the previous project if you want to make them and put them in there. So I just trimmed off the bottom, and then I did use my corner rounder here. I used the 10mm one off the We Are Memory Keepers punch that I have to round the corners. So I did do that. I did ink everything with my alt new ink that is from Country Craft Creations as well. So I used that, and then to make the flowers, Again, I used my graphic 45 dies, and I used the 3 sizes here, and I just did, I just went through my scraps and did what I could to make the flowers. So I didn't have a lot of this pattern paper left over from the fall collection because I used so much of it with other things. So I just kind of went through the bits and pieces. And then what I did was I don't know if you can see it, but the flowers do have some texture to them. I did run them through my Heartfelt Creations 3D Floral Basic Shaping Mold. And this is something that I bought from Country Craft Creations a while ago. It's not available anymore. But if you have that in your stash, you could use that. That's what I use to kind of, instead of the flowers being kind of flat, to give them a little bit more dimension. But you could also curl them with a bone folder, which is what I did on these here. I just kind of curled them like you would curly ribbon with my bone folder to kind of give them a little bit more shape. Okay. And then let's see, I also used, I told you about the twine. I told you about the ribbon. I did use some graphic 45 it's called Antique Jewels Set. Now, I got this a long time ago. I bought it for myself, and I never used, I think I used like 2 little dots. So I used these in this project here for the flowers on the tags, and then I also used a couple of them on the front of the box just to give it a little bit more bling. So I did use that as well, okay? And then one thing I am going to tell you, then we're going to get into the tutorial and I'll show you. So this box was kind of an afterthought, and I did not do it for the tutorial. It was kind of one of those aha moments at the end when I was finishing up my tags. So I'm going to tell you real quick how I made that. So let me get this out of the way, and then I'm going to show you a little model, or a little graphic, I guess like you could say, that I created to show you what I did to make that. So I took a piece of 12 by 12 paper, and what I did was I cut it to 12 by 10, and I took this piece off, and then I put it in my scoreboard, and I scored it on the 12-inch side at 4 and then at 8, and then I turned it to the 10-inch side, and I scored it at 4 and at 6. Okay, so again, this was a 12 by 10 piece of paper, scored on the 12 at 4 and 8, and then turn it to the 10-inch side, score it at 4 and 6. And then what I did was where you see the red lines, so here, 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 and here, I just cut those scores out and left everything else intact. And then what that ended up doing, and let me show you here real quick. I'm just going to cut this one up just so I can show you how I put this together. I'll cut these 2 up. Really simple, but what they're going to do is reinforce the sides of your box, okay? So I did cut the scores out when I actually did the full-on project, okay? But when you fold it, and I've already kind of scored it, let me just real quick fold this so I can show you. So when I went to create the box, when I folded it up, so the sides will be 2 inches, I folded the sides in here and I glued those together, and then I folded that front up. And that's how I created the front of the box. And when I used my artisan cardstock, it made it super, super thick. So I did that to both sides, okay? So that's how I created the box. So just cut those slits out. I cut the scores out, I should say, just to make it fit a little bit better. And then dry fit it, make sure everything is nice and straight. And then that's how I did that. Then what I did with this 10-inch strip here is I cut it into 2 pieces that were 4 by 2. So these 2 pieces here, and what I did with that was that once I put the box together with the front pieces here, I just, and obviously they're not cut, but I laid those in there, those little pieces, and that reinforced the sides. So it gave an extra layer to the sides of the box, okay? So just, again, take this 2 by 12 piece and cut it into 2 4-inch pieces. You may need to take a sliver off the width and make it like just a little bit less than 2 inches. And you may have to take a little bit off the 4 inches and make it a little bit less than that. Just dry fit it and make sure that it fits in there nice. And then I just slid them inside and glued them down. And then after I did that, then that's when I put the pattern papers and stuff on. So it was a total afterthought that I did that. But I wanted to share that with you before we get into how to make the tags, okay? So let's go and look at the tags. Okay, I'm going to show you how to cut the pattern papers. But first off, I did cut down this graphic 45 tag. It was a little bit longer, but I did trim it down. And if you measure it from this flat surface here to 7 inches. So I did cut off a little bit off the bottom. Honestly, I forgot right now how big that little piece was, but I did cut that off. Oh, actually, here, never mind. I got it. Okay. All right, so the first thing I did when I was doing this tag tutorial, trying to figure out the papers and how it was going to measure, I did want to take this graphic 45 tag and I cut it down to, from this flat point here, 7 inches. So the total length of this is now 7 3/4 inches. So I just took the bottom piece off here and it cut off about 1 inch. Okay, so again, from this flat piece here down, it's 7 inches. And then I did need a piece of Black Artisan Cardstock, and I cut this at 7 inches by 3/4 inches to make the belly band that I'm going to put on the front. Okay, so those are the only 2 things you need. Then you need your cut apart paper, and I used pretty much the entire cut apart piece. So let me grab my cutter and I'll show you how to cut these. And then I have one already inked and ready to go, so then I can show you how to put it together, okay? So the first thing I did is I'm going to put it in my cutter, and I'm going to cut that bottom strip off, that border strip, clear up through that Happy Autumn, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up, cut that entire strip off. And then while I've got this strip, I need to cut it into 3 pieces that are 3 3/4, okay? So there's 1, 2, and then the back side is going to be a pocket, okay? Or the backs, or these are all going to be pockets, but I'm going to use 2 of the front side and 1 of the back side, okay? And then I'm going to cut off this green border strip. It's about 1/2 inch, but just line it up in your cutter and cut that off. We're going to use that for the belly band. So then we're going to want to turn around while we still have it in our hot little hands here. I'm going to trim off this top piece because I got a little bit of the white on there. And I'm going to trim it down to 6 7/8. Okay. All right, so we have that piece for the belly band. Then, because it's just going to be a little bit easier for me, I'm going to cut off that branding strip and just get rid of that for now, okay? I'm going to cut these 2 off. So I'm going to line that up. It should be 4 inches. Okay, those cut aparts. I'm going to cut that up. And then while I have this in my hot little hands, I'm going to trim this. Now, if you look at the design on this card, you have these white lines here that have the design. I trimmed pretty much right on that white line. So I'm just lining that in my cutter and cutting that off. It does need to be a little bit smaller so it fits in the belly band of the tag, okay? So I'm just cutting pretty much on that white line. We're going to ink all of these anyway, and I wanted to trim it up just a little bit, so I cut that off, okay? So now that's trimmed up, and then this one here, I wanted to trim to the green, and just because it's further in and harder for me to see, it was easier for me just to use my scissors to do that. So I'm just cutting the border off, leaving the green on there. So that's how I trimmed the 4x4 cut apart. I woke up with this idea. I can't believe I just woke up with this idea. And so then I had to work it out. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning and I've only had 1 cup of tea. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so these are 2 cut aparts to go under the belly band. All right, so then grab this piece again. I'm going to cut this entire bottom piece off. We're going to use that to back behind the belly band. Okay, so I'm cutting that bottom 4-inch strip off. We're going to use this side of it. So I'm going to trim it down to 3/4 wide. And then I'm going to trim it down to 6 7/8. Okay. So 3/4 by 6 7/8. That's going to go on the tag behind the belly band. Then we're going to go back here. I'm going to trim off the 3 inches here with this journal card and this piece here. These are going to be inserts. Okay. And then I'm just going to separate those two. So you'll have a 3x4 cut apart. And then this piece here, this is going to go in the back side in the back pockets. This will go under the belly band. Then you have these pieces here. I'm going to cut that September, October, November border off. I'm going to cut these apart now. So I'm going to trim off the 2 smaller tags, separate it from the bigger tag. This is going to go on the back of the tag to create a top pocket. And obviously I didn't cut that very straight. So I'm going to straighten that up a little bit. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is trim it down 1/8 of an inch off each side. And what that'll do is make it 3 3/4 wide for the top part of the back of the tag. Okay. And then the last 2 pieces here, I'm just going to cut those apart. Ooh, trim that up a little bit. Maybe I'll just use my scissors for that. They're smaller. So I'm just going to make this one into the rectangle. Okay. Trim that up better. Okay. So this is my fall paper, and then what I did, I inked all of the papers, and so I have the summer papers ready and cut and inked, but I wanted to show you how to cut them, and then I'll use the summer papers to show you how to put the tag together. And then when I come back, after I decorate, I'll show you kind of a final little walkthrough of what they look like. Okay, so these will go in the pockets in the back, and this is basically all you have left from that piece of paper. Okay, so 1 tag, 1 set of cut aparts. All right, so these pieces are I'm gonna put these off to the side because I'll do those later, so you don't have to wait for me to ink them. And then we'll grab the summer papers. I've got this all ready to go. Now I did want to round the corners, and I used my We Are Memory Keepers corner punch, the 10mm side. I thought worked great for this project, for the tags, to round it up. So let's start with the back. Okay, let me get my pieces here. So I've got my little pocket pieces. Here are my inserts for those. Okay, and here are my pocket pieces and my topper. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and again, I did ink everything. I cut everything the same, and then I inked everything, is I'm just going to glue that to the top of the tag. And this is the back of my tag. Okay, so you'll have a little bit of a border around. You'll have about, a 1/16 of an inch of a border of the tag around. All right, and then what I'm going to do is line my tag up to the bottom of my board here, and I'm going to use my grid, and what I want to do is measure and glue my first pocket to 4.5 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So what I'm going to do is line that up and glue that down just like that on 3 sides. Okay, hoping that everybody can see that. It's in camera, and I'm just going to glue on 3 sides, because the little tags that I'm going to use are tiny. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.5. That's going to line up right there. Okay, my second pocket piece is the back side, and what I did was I covered up the summer part, and I just lined it up to the green border of the fabric, or the fabric, the flowers. Yeah, I told you, it's morning. I haven't had all my tea yet. Okay, so I'm just going to glue that on 3 sides, and then I'm just going to line that up to the flowers. Okay, the last piece, I did round the bottom so it fits the tag, and then that's just going to layer over that. Then you'll have your layered pockets, your 3 layered pockets for your 3 little tags. Didn't do my glue very well on that one. Okay, and then, ooh, I didn't even, hold on a second. There we go. Didn't round that corner very well either. All right. And I'm just going to lay that down like that. Okay. So there's that pocket. Okay. Then my little tags, I put the gold one in the middle, put the T at the top, and then my other little tag there. Okay. So there's that. Then we're going to do the back side. Now this is where that pattern paper is going to come in. And I do know that it's sideways, but it's going to have a belly band over top of it. And then you're going to put tags in there. So I don't think it's going to be too super noticeable. So I'm just going to glue this piece all the way down. Like so. Okay, then we have our little belly band piece. Okay, so again, this black cardstock was 7 by 3/4, and then I cut this piece at this little border strip at 6 7/8. I wanted to put a little bit more strength on the belly band, and you will have some room. You could put some more photo mats in there if you wanted to. Okay. So I'm going to glue that down, and then this glues right in the middle to the bottom of the tag, just like that, okay? And I did it so that the words, if you turn the tag like this, you'll see Sweet Summertime. That's how I did it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here, top and bottom. And then I'm going to eyeball center it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in my grid, and I'm kind of lining it up side by side. And then I'm looking at the black line that's going through the hole there. I'm just kind of eyeball centering that. Okay. And that is how you make the tag. So then this will tuck under there, and then like that, and then like that. And then you have this cute little belly band with pockets on the back side. So that's how I did that. So what I'm going to do now is I will finish up my fall one because I still need to ink it, and I'll put that together, and then I will come right back. Okay, my tags are done. And I did already talk to you about how I made the box. So this was a really fun little box to make. It's very easy. I used Black Artisan Cardstock, just 1 sheet to do it. And then I used my leftover pattern papers, and then, you know, fussy cut the flowers out and tried to give it a little bit more dimension there with my gems. So these either can go into this little box here if you want to make that. And you can have another little cute box project for your collection, or you can take it, and I put them in my original project. You can take them and you can add them to your project here, and it just looks so darn cute in here with the ribbons sticking out, and it just gives a little bit extra fun there. So I'm going to kind of hold that over so you can see it a little bit. You can kind of see, you saw a picture of it before, but anyways, so 2 different options for that. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. This is my final project that I'm making using Season to Celebrate by Graphic 45. This is my design team package project for Country Craft Creations for the month of December. Thank you, and I will see you again soon with more fun tutorials and things to make. So stay crafty, stay healthy, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.